The crystal champagne flute shattered in my grip, sending shards and expensive bubbles across the mahogany dining table. The room fell silent, except for my mother's sharp intake of breath. I didn't care. After what my sister Stella had just said, breaking things seemed like the reasonable response. I'm Carmen, and this was the moment I decided to burn my family's perfect facade to the ground. Really, Carmen? Stella dabbed her napkin at the splash of champagne on her designer blouse. Having another tantrum because you can't handle criticism? This is exactly why your business failed. My business didn't fail, I shot back, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. We had a setback. It happens to every entrepreneur. Sweetheart, my mother Francesca interrupted, her perfectly manicured hands smoothing the tablecloth. Perhaps it's time to consider a more conventional career path. Your sister Tamara could help you secure a position at her firm. Tamara's lips curled into that familiar smirk. Entry level, of course, though even that might be a stretch given your limited experience. Limited experience? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I built that company from nothing. We had over 50,000 customers before you lost everyone's money, my brother Jason chimed in, not bothering to look up from his phone. Face it, sis. You're not cut out for the big leagues. I glanced at my father, Lincoln, hoping for support, but he just sipped his wine, eyes fixed on his plate. Typical. He'd perfected the art of avoiding conflict years ago. You know what? I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. I don't need this. Any of it. I don't need your fake concern or your condescending advice. Carmen, sit down, my mother hissed. The staff will talk. Let them talk. God forbid anyone discovers the Ortiz family isn't perfect. I grabbed my purse from the back of my chair. I'm done pretending we're one big happy family. Drama queen, Stella muttered. I spun toward her. At least I earned my success instead of riding Daddy's coattails into law school. Stella's face reddened. How dare you? How dare I what? Tell the truth? I looked around the table, meeting each of their eyes. That's what none of you can handle, isn't it? The truth? From the corner of my eye, I caught movement. My niece Willow had slipped into the doorway, her phone held low but definitely recording. Smart girl. She gave me the smallest of nods. The truth, Tamara scoffed, is that you're jealous. You've always been jealous of our success. Success? I laughed again, harder this time. You mean the trust funds, the connections, the carefully curated marriages and careers? That's not success. That's inheritance. Carmen, my mother stood now too, her voice shrill. You will not speak to your sisters this way. Watch me. I stepped away from the table. You all sit here in your bubble, judging everyone else, thinking you're untouchable. But you're not. You're just better at hiding your mistakes than most people. Jason finally looked up from his phone. Is that a threat? No, dear brother, that's a promise. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Stella, maybe next time you want to criticize someone's business acumen, make sure they don't know about your creative billing practices first. The color drained from Stella's face. Perfect. Carmen, wait, my father finally spoke, but I was already walking away. Don't bother calling, I called over my shoulder. I'll be too busy picking up the pieces of my failed business to answer. I made it to my car before the tears came. My hands shook as I gripped the steering wheel, but I forced myself to breathe. They'd always been like this, dismissive, cruel, wrapped up in their own importance. But something was different now. Maybe it was the champagne, or maybe it was just years of pent-up resentment, but I'd finally had enough. My phone buzzed with a text from Willow. Got it all on video. Also, I have an idea. Coffee tomorrow? I smiled through my tears. My teenage niece, the only one in this family worth saving. She'd always been different, smarter, kinder, more genuine than the rest of them. Another text came through, this time from my mother. Your behavior tonight was unacceptable. Call me when you're ready to apologize. I deleted the message without responding. Then I blocked her number, and Stella's, and Tamara's, and Jason's. As I drove away from the mansion that had never felt like home, my mind was already racing with possibilities. They thought I was finished, that I'd crawl back begging for forgiveness and a job at one of their precious firms. They had no idea what I was capable of. No idea what secrets I'd kept over the years, what stories I could tell. My business might have hit a rough patch, but I still had my skills from my investigative journalism days. And now I had nothing left to lose. My phone buzzed again. Willow. Trust me, you're gonna want to hear this idea. I smiled. Maybe it was time to put those skills to use. After all, every good story needs an audience, and I had one hell of a story to tell. A podcast? I stared at Willow across the coffee shop table. That's your big idea? Not just any podcast. My niece's fingers flew across her laptop keyboard. True crime is oversaturated. Family drama? That's the sweet spot right now, especially when it involves rich people behaving badly. I stirred my now cold coffee. And you think people want to hear about our family? Are you kidding? Willow's eyes lit up. Mom's creative accounting, Uncle Jason's business trips to Vegas, the stuff about Grandpa's company that nobody talks about. It's gold, Aunt Carmen. Pure gold. I don't know. But I did know. The idea had been forming since last night, taking shape with every angry text I'd received from my siblings. Look. Willow turned her laptop around. I already mocked up some artwork. Family secrets, the truth behind the perfect facade. What do you think? The design was sleek, professional, black and gold with a shattered family portrait as the centerpiece. My throat tightened. When did you get so good at this? While everyone else was busy criticizing you, I was actually learning from you. She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. You taught me that success isn't about who your parents are, it's about what you create. Your mother would kill me if she knew you were helping with this. Mom's too busy cooking books to notice what I'm doing. Willow's voice hardened. Besides, I'm tired of pretending everything's fine, aren't you? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Another message from my father. Your mother's upset, call her. I showed it to Willow, who rolled her eyes. Classic Grandpa, never addressing the actual problem. You know what? I straightened in my chair. Let's do it. The podcast. All of it. Really? Willow's face lit up. Really? But we do this right. Professional equipment, proper research, ironclad legal protection. I pulled out my notebook. Old habits die hard. I still have contacts from my journalism days, people who owe me favors. I can handle the technical side, Willow said, already typing. Sound editing, website, social media presence. I've been studying this stuff for months. Months? How long have you been planning this? She shrugged. Since I overheard Mom and Aunt Stella talking about how they got rid of their competition in the Martinez case. You know, the one where that family lost everything? My pen froze mid-sentence. What are you talking about? Oh, you didn't know? Willow's voice dropped. They fabricated evidence, got the whole family's assets frozen. The youngest daughter... She swallowed hard. She couldn't afford her medical treatments anymore. The coffee in my stomach turned to acid. That girl died? Willow nodded. Last spring. Mom and Aunt Stella celebrated with champagne. Called it a necessary casualty of business. My hands were shaking again, but not from anger this time, from purpose. Tell me everything. For the next hour, Willow laid it all out. The corruption, the cover-ups, the casual cruelty that my family had turned into an art form. With each revelation, my resolve strengthened. We'll need to be careful, I said finally. They'll try to shut us down. Already thought of that. Willow pulled up another document. Anonymous hosting, encrypted communications, offshore servers. They can try to trace it, but they won't get far. When did you get so devious? She grinned. I learned from the best. Our family's great at being devious. We're just going to use it for good instead of evil. My phone buzzed again. Tamara this time. Somehow texting despite being blocked. Mom's having anxiety attacks because of you. Hope you're happy with yourself. I showed Willow the message, her jaw set. They always do this. Make you feel guilty for their actions. Not anymore. No, I agreed. Not anymore. I pulled out my credit card. First things first, we need equipment. Then we need a secure place to record. My friend's dad has a music studio. He owes me for fixing his website. We can use it after hours. I raised an eyebrow. Does he know what we're planning to use it for? He knows it's a podcast about family dynamics. He doesn't need to know whose family. She closed her laptop. When do we start? I checked my watch. The equipment store closes in 2 hours. We can have our first test recording done by tonight. Perfect! Willow stood, gathering her things. Oh, and one more thing. I may have already started a social media campaign. Just subtle hints about a big exposé coming soon. We've got 5,000 followers already. I laughed despite myself. You really have been planning this. Someone had to. Her expression turned serious. They hurt people, Aunt Carmen. Real people. It's time someone held them accountable. As we walked to my car, I felt lighter than I had in years. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about justice, about truth, about showing my family that their actions had consequences. You know there's no going back once we do this, I said, as we pulled out of the parking lot. Willow plugged her phone into the car's speakers, pulling up a playlist titled Podcast Themes. Good, she said. Going back is overrated anyway. The first track started playing, a haunting piano piece that built slowly into something powerful, something unstoppable, just like us. 3, 2, 1. Willow gave me the signal from behind the soundboard. I leaned into the microphone, my heart pounding. Welcome to Family Secrets, where the perfect facade crumbles one truth at a time. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a story about power, privilege, and what happens when justice is for sale. My hands trembled as I shuffled my notes, but my voice remained steady. Years of investigative reporting had taught me how to mask nervousness with authority. Let me tell you about a lawyer named Stella. Harvard-educated, respected partner at a prestigious firm, known for never losing a case. But what if I told you her perfect record wasn't built on skill, but on something far darker? I detailed the Martinez case, careful to change just enough details to avoid legal issues while keeping the devastating truth intact. As I spoke, the subscriber count on our live feed kept climbing. 1,000 listeners, Willow mouthed silently, giving me a thumbs up. But here's where it gets interesting, I continued. When the Martinez family's assets were frozen, something unusual happened in Stella's offshore account. A transfer of exactly $2 million from an anonymous source. The same day, key evidence in the case mysteriously disappeared from the court records. My phone started buzzing. Stella. I ignored it. 2,000 listeners, Willow whispered. The youngest daughter needed experimental treatment for a rare form of cancer, treatment that could have saved her life, treatment they could no longer afford after Stella's legal maneuvering left them penniless. More calls. Tamara now. Jason. My mother. 5,000 listeners. I pressed on, my voice growing stronger with each revelation. But Stella didn't act alone. Her partner in this tragedy was another powerful woman. Let's call her T. Together, they orchestrated one of the most devastating legal frauds this city has ever seen, and they celebrated their victory with champagne while a young girl died fighting for her life. The studio door burst open. Stella stood there, face contorted with rage, designer heels clicking on the floor as she stormed toward me. "Stop recording right now!" she demanded. I smiled into the microphone. And speaking of Stella, it seems she's decided to join us live. Care to comment on the Martinez case, sister? You have no proof of any of this, she snarled, reaching for the microphone. Willow's hand shot out, blocking her aunt's grasp. Touch the equipment and I'll add destruction of property to the live stream. 10,000 listeners, I said calmly. That's quite an audience for your debut, Stella. Want to tell them about the offshore account? Or should I share the documentation I have right here? Stella's face went from red to white. You're lying. You can't have those records. I pulled out a folder, spreading photographs across the desk. Banking statements, court documents, emails. Amazing what people keep in their cloud storage when they think nobody's looking. 20,000 listeners! Willow's voice was excited now. Stella grabbed my arm. You're destroying this family! I yanked free. No, you destroyed this family when you decided money was worth more than human life. You don't understand, she hissed. That case was everything. If you hadn't won, a young girl might still be alive. I turned back to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems my sister has some explaining to do. Stella, the audience is waiting. Care to tell them why $2 million was worth more than a child's life? She backed away, fumbling for her phone. Our lawyers will shut you down. You'll never work in this city again. 30,000 listeners, Willow announced, and the recording's already been downloaded thousands of times. It's too late, Mom. Stella spun toward her daughter. You? You helped her do this? Someone had to tell the truth, Willow said quietly. My phone buzzed again, a text from an unknown number. I worked on the Martinez case. There's more, much more. Check your email. Well, folks, I said into the microphone, it seems we've struck a nerve, and this is just the beginning. Next week, we'll dive deeper into the web of corruption that connects some of our city's most prestigious law firms and financial institutions. The truth is coming out, one episode at a time. Stella stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Through the studio window, I could see her crying in her car, phone pressed to her ear. 40,000 listeners, Willow said as I wrapped up the episode, and trending on Twitter. Family Secrets is blowing up. My hands were shaking as I removed my headphones. You okay? That was your mom we just exposed. Willow's eyes were hard. That woman stopped being my mom the day she toasted to winning the Martinez case. I heard her, Aunt Carmen. She laughed about it. My phone kept buzzing with notifications, social media exploding, news outlets requesting interviews, more anonymous sources coming forward. We should probably get out of here, I said, gathering my evidence files. They'll be coming for us now. Willow was already packing up the equipment. Let them come. We have the truth on our side. As we left the studio, my phone lit up with one final message from Tamara. You think you know everything? Wait until you hear what I know about our dear brother Jason. Call me. I showed the message to Willow, who grinned. Looks like we've got our next episode. The truth was snowballing now, and there was no stopping it. Not anymore. You're meeting Tamara? Willow nearly dropped her laptop. It's obviously a trap. I checked my reflection in the cafe window. Of course it's a trap, but she's desperate enough to give us something real. The coffee shop was crowded, perfect for a confrontation. I'd chosen it specifically because Tamara wouldn't dare make a scene in front of so many smartphones. 100,000 subscribers now, Willow said, setting up her hidden recording equipment. The Martinez story is everywhere. 3 news stations called this morning. I spotted Tamara entering, her designer suit a stark contrast to my casual attire. Her eyes darted around nervously before she slid into the seat across from me. You look terrible, I said cheerfully. Our father's in the hospital. She didn't waste time with pleasantries. Stress-induced heart problems. I hope you're happy. Nice try. I called the hospital. He's getting his annual physical. Tamara's facade cracked slightly. You always were thorough. Speaking of thorough, I pulled out my phone. Let's talk about what you know about Jason. Not here. She glanced around. This isn't a game, Carmen. What you're doing, it's dangerous. More dangerous than letting a girl die for profit? That was different. Stella went too far. And you didn't? I leaned forward. The offshore accounts? The insider trading? The creative bookkeeping that made millions disappear? Her face paled. How did you? I have sources everywhere now. Amazing how many people want to talk when they see someone finally standing up to the mighty Tamara. She grabbed my wrist. Listen to me, Jason. He's involved with people. Bad people. The kind who don't care about podcasts or public opinion. They solve problems permanently. I pulled free. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. Her voice dropped. Last month, a journalist started asking questions about Jason's Vegas connections. 2 days later, his brake lines mysteriously failed. My coffee turned sour in my stomach, but I kept my voice steady. Prove it. Tamara pulled out a USB drive. Everything's here. Bank records, photos, names. But if you use this, I was never involved. Why are you giving me this? Because. She stood up, straightening her jacket. Unlike Stella, I know when I'm beaten. And because... She hesitated. Because maybe that Martinez girl deserves some justice. After she left, Willow emerged from her corner table. Got everything recorded, including her confession about the journalist. I turned the USB drive over in my hands. We need to be careful with this one. Back everything up. Multiple locations. Already on it? Willow was typing furiously. But you should see what's trending now. Someone leaked photos of Stella, shredding documents at her office last night. My phone buzzed with a news alert. The headline made my heart stop. Prominent law firm under investigation following podcast allegations. It's working, Willow whispered. They're actually looking into it. Another message popped up, this one from Jason. You have no idea what you're getting into. Back off now, or else. Or else what? I muttered. Aunt Carmen? Willow's voice was small. Maybe we should be careful. What Tamara said about that journalist. No. I stood up, gathering my things. That's what they want. For us to be scared. To back down. But we're not stopping until the truth is out. We spent the next 3 hours in a private room at the library, going through the USB contents. What we found made the Martinez case look like a parking ticket. Money laundering, Willow read. Connections to organized crime, blackmail. Uncle Jason's been busy. Look at these dates. I pointed to a series of transactions. Each one corresponds to a major family event. The Christmas party where he announced his new business venture. The charity gala where he donated $500,000. All dirty money, Willow finished. But how do we prove it without putting ourselves in danger? I smiled. By letting someone else do it for us. Opening my email, I started composing a message to every financial crimes investigator I knew from my reporting days. Anonymous tip with evidence attached. They'll have to investigate. And the podcast? We tell just enough to make people ask questions. The right questions. I checked my watch. We record tonight. This episode goes live tomorrow morning. Willow's phone chimed. Grandma's calling a family emergency meeting. Tomorrow night at the house. Perfect timing. I gathered the printouts. Let them hear the episode first. Let them sweat. What if Uncle Jason really does try something? I pulled up the photo of the Martinez girl. Young, smiling, full of life before my family destroyed her. Then we make sure everyone knows exactly who's responsible if anything happens to us. As we left the library, a black SUV with tinted windows pulled up alongside us. The window rolled down just enough to show Jason's face. Last chance, sis, he called out. Some stories should stay buried. I held up my phone, recording. Thanks for that, Jason. It'll make a great opening for tomorrow's episode. The SUV peeled away, leaving rubber on the pavement. He's scared, Willow observed. Good. I checked my phone. 200,000 subscribers now. He should be. The truth was like an avalanche now, growing bigger and more unstoppable with each revelation. And my family was directly in its path. The family mansion looked different now, smaller somehow. Police cars lined the circular driveway, their lights reflecting off the marble fountain. Holy shit, Willow whispered beside me. They actually did it. They arrested Uncle Jason. We watched from my parked car as 2 officers led my brother out in handcuffs. His perfect hair was disheveled, his expensive suit wrinkled. He caught sight of us and mouthed something that looked distinctly like a threat. 500,000 downloads of today's episode, Willow said, checking her phone. The FBI's financial crimes tip line crashed from too many calls. My mother burst out of the front door, mascara streaking her face. This is your fault, she screamed, pointing at my car. You've destroyed this family. I stepped out, facing her. No, Mother, the family destroyed itself. I just exposed the rot. They're taking everything, she sobbed. The accounts, the properties, all of it. We'll be ruined. Like the Martinez family was ruined, I moved closer. Like all the other families you and your precious children destroyed? A detective approached us, notepad in hand. Ms. Carmen, we'd like to ask you a few questions about your brother's activities. Of course, Detective. But first... I pulled out my phone, showing him a series of emails. You might want to look into my father's company, specifically the overseas subsidiaries. My mother's face went chalk white. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. I turned to the detective. I have evidence of systematic tax fraud going back 20 years. Would you like to see it? Carmen, please. My mother grabbed my arm. Your father. It would kill him. Like it killed Mr. Martinez when he lost everything? When he had to watch his daughter die because he couldn't afford her treatment? More police cars arrived. I could see my father through the study window, frantically shredding documents. Too late, I told him, though he couldn't hear me. Willow already hacked your cloud storage. They have everything. Stella's car screeched into the driveway, nearly hitting a police cruiser. She jumped out, waving a court order. This is harassment. We're filing an injunction to stop this podcast immediately. Already denied, Willow called out, waving her phone. Check your email. The judge ruled it's protected speech, since everything we said is demonstrably true. You little... Stella started toward her daughter, but 2 officers stepped between them. Miss Stella? One officer held up a warrant. We need to discuss the Martinez case, specifically, the missing evidence and suspicious financial transactions. My sister's legal mask slipped into place. I want my lawyer present for any questions. Your lawyer's already been arrested, the officer replied. He was very cooperative. I watched as my family's carefully constructed world crumbled around them. Tamara arrived next, already in tears, clutching designer bags stuffed with what looked like documents. I'll tell you everything, she announced to the nearest detective. About Jason, about the money, about all of it. I want immunity. Traitor! Stella screamed at her. Smart, I corrected. She's the only one who might stay out of jail. My father finally emerged from the house, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Carmen, he said quietly. A moment. I followed him to the garden, our old special place, where he used to read to me as a child, before money and power corrupted everything. I never wanted this, he said, sitting heavily on a stone bench. The company. It started with small compromises, then bigger ones, until one day you were celebrating the death of an innocent girl with champagne? He flinched. I tried to protect you from all this. That's why I encouraged you to start your own business, to stay away from the family companies. You weren't protecting me, I realized. You were protecting yourself, keeping me clean in case everything fell apart. Carmen! My mother's shrill voice cut through the garden. They're seizing the house. Do something. I stood up. I already did something, Mother. I told the truth. Willow appeared at my side, tablet in hand. Trending nationwide now. Every major news network is covering it. And... She paused for effect. 3 publishing houses want to talk about a book deal. My father put his head in his hands. Behind him, I could see Stella being led to a police car, still arguing about her rights. Tamara was sitting in the back of an SUV, talking rapidly to federal agents. Jason had already been taken away. What happens now? Willow asked quietly. I watched as officers strung crime scene tape across the front of my childhood home. Now we keep telling the truth about everyone who helped cover this up, every corrupt judge, every bought politician, every complicit accountant. They'll fight back, my father warned. People with real power, dangerous people. Let them. I took Willow's hand. The truth is bulletproof. My mother's wails echoed across the property as agents began carrying out boxes of documents. The fountain's water still sparkled in the evening light, but now it seemed to be washing away years of secrets and lies. My phone buzzed, a message from Mrs. Martinez. Thank you for giving my daughter justice, and that made everything worth it. You need to see this. Willow burst into my apartment, laptop clutched to her chest. Her face was pale, hands shaking. What's wrong? I set down my coffee, still groggy from another late night of recording. She opened her laptop, pulling up a series of encrypted emails. Someone sent these to our tip line. They're from Grandpa's private server. I scanned the first few messages, my blood running cold. These dates? They're from 30 years ago. Keep reading. The emails detailed a conspiracy so vast it made our previous revelations look like child's play. My father, the respected businessman, had built his empire on the backs of desperate families. Predatory loans, forged documents, manufactured bankruptcies, all designed to strip people of their homes and businesses during the economic crash of the early 90s. "There's more," Willow whispered, scrolling down. "Look at the names." I recognized one immediately, Maria Santos, my childhood best friend. Her family had lost everything when I was 12. They'd disappeared overnight, and my parents had told me they moved away for better opportunities. "They didn't move," I breathed. "They were driven out." My phone rang. My father's number. After 3 weeks of silence, now he calls. "Hello, Father. Where are you?" His voice was urgent, strained. "We need to talk. In person. Now." "Why? More families you've destroyed coming to light?" "Carmen, please." He actually sounded scared. "There are things you don't understand. Things I've done to protect you." "Protect me?" I laughed bitterly. "Like you protected Maria's family?" The line went silent for a moment. "How do you know about Maria?" "I know everything, Father. The loans, the foreclosures, the fake bankruptcy claims. All of it. Meet me at the old boathouse. 1 hour. Come alone." He hung up. Willow grabbed my arm. "You can't go alone. What if it's a trap?" "It's not." I gathered my recording equipment. "He's scared, and I want to know why." The boathouse sat on the edge of the lake where I'd learned to swim. It looked smaller now, weathered by time and neglect. My father waited inside, sitting on an old wooden chair. "You're recording this, aren't you?" he asked as I entered. I held up my microphone. "Always." "Good." He pulled out a thick manila envelope. "Then record this too. The whole truth, finally." The envelope contained photographs, documents, and a handwritten confession. My father's hands trembled as he spread them out. "I didn't start this," he said quietly. "I inherited it, from my father, who inherited it from his. A system designed to keep certain families in power, others in poverty. I thought I could change it from the inside, make it better somehow." "But you didn't," I said. "You made it worse." "Yes." He looked at me directly. "And then you were born. I saw how different you were, honest, principled, strong. I knew you could never be part of this. So I pushed you away from the family business, encouraged your journalism, your independence. While still destroying other people's lives? The system was bigger than me by then. Powerful people, old money families. They don't let go easily. When you started your business, they wanted to corrupt you too. The online company's failure wasn't an accident." My heart stopped. "What?" "They sabotaged you, because you wouldn't play by their rules." He handed me another document. "Here's the proof. Names, dates, everything." "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because they're coming for you next." He stood up, pacing. "The podcast, the exposures, you're disrupting decades of carefully maintained power structures. They won't allow it." A car door slammed outside, then another. "They followed me," my father whispered. "I'm sorry. I thought I had more time." Footsteps crunched on gravel. Multiple sets. "The evidence," I said quickly, gathering the papers. "Is there more?" "Hidden safe in my study. Behind the painting of the lake. Combination is your birthday." He pushed me toward the back door. "Go, now. Tell the whole story." "Dad, go." He shoved the manila envelope into my hands. "I'll hold them off. Make it right, Carmen. All of it." I slipped out the back, just as the front door burst open. Through the weathered walls, I heard my father's voice, strong and clear. "Gentlemen, I've been expecting you." Running through the woods, clutching the evidence to my chest, I called Willow. "Get out of the apartment," I gasped. "Get somewhere safe. And send that encrypted email dump to every news outlet we know. Now." "What about you?" "I'm going to the house, to the study. There's more evidence." "The police?" "No time. Just do it." "And Willow?" I paused, catching my breath. "Thank you, for everything." I could hear shouting from the boathouse now, car engines starting. The truth wasn't just dangerous anymore, it was deadly. But I had come too far to stop now. My father had finally chosen a side. Now it was my turn to finish what he started. The whole system was about to come crashing down. And this time, the right people would be buried in the rubble. The house alarm didn't sound when I broke in through the kitchen window. Of course not. I still knew the code from childhood. Some things never change. My father's study was exactly as I remembered. Leather-bound books, expensive artwork, the familiar painting of the lake hanging above his desk. I could hear voices downstairs, security guards making their rounds. The safe clicked open on the first try. My birthday, just like he said. Hands where I can see them. I froze. My mother stood in the doorway, holding what looked like my father's antique revolver. "Really, Mother? You're going to shoot me?" "You've ruined everything." Her voice shook. "The accounts are frozen. The house is under surveillance. Your father's probably dead because of you." I turned slowly, documents clutched to my chest. He chose to tell the truth. Finally. "The truth?" She laughed hysterically. "The truth is that we protected you, all of you. Do you know what these people do to threats?" Footsteps thundered up the stairs. "Put the gun down," I said quietly. "Help me expose them, all of them." For a moment, something flickered in her eyes. Maybe regret, maybe fear. Then her expression hardened. "Mrs. Ortiz?" a man's voice called from the hallway. "We heard voices." "In here!" she shouted. "She's in here!" I dove behind the desk as two men in dark suits burst in. Not security guards. Something much worse. "The documents," one demanded. "Hand them over." "Already uploaded," I lied, buying time. "Every major news outlet has them." "She's bluffing," my mother said. "Check her phone." I grabbed the heavy brass paperweight from the desk and hurled it at the overhead light. The room plunged into darkness. Chaos erupted. My mother screamed. The men cursed. I rolled toward the window, clutching the safe's contents. A gunshot cracked. Plaster exploded near my head. The window was already open from my earlier escape plan. I didn't hesitate. 3 stories up, but the old oak tree was right where it had always been. My childhood escape route. Branches whipped past as I half climbed, half fell. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Willow. "They're coming," she said when I answered, running across the lawn. "Police, FBI, everyone. The email dump went live. It's everywhere." "Meet me at the backup location," I gasped. "Bring everything." More shots rang out, car engines roared to life. I sprinted through the garden, past the fountain where this had all started. My mother's voice echoed behind me. "You're just like your father, too stubborn to know when to stop." Maybe she was right. The emergency studio we'd set up in an abandoned radio station was still secure. Willow was already there, equipment running. "You're bleeding," she said as I burst in. "Just scratches." I spread the documents across the table. "We need to go live. Now." Already streaming, 500,000 viewers waiting. I collapsed into the chair, pulling the microphone close. "This is Carmen, and you're listening to the final episode of Family Secrets. Tonight, we're going to tell you the real story. The one they've killed to keep hidden." My phone lit up with messages. "Stella, from prison. Don't do this. Tamara. They'll kill us all. Jason. You stupid bitch." I ignored them all. 30 years ago, a group of powerful families created a system designed to maintain their wealth and power at any cost. They called it economic restructuring. In reality, it was organized theft on a massive scale. Police sirens wailed in the distance. My father was part of it. So was my mother. So were dozens of other respected business leaders and politicians. Tonight, I'm going to name every single one of them. Willow's eyes went wide as she read through the documents. "Aunt Carmen, these go all the way to the governor's office." Good. I took a deep breath. Because here's the truth about power. It only works when people are afraid. And I'm not afraid anymore. The studio door burst open. But instead of dark-suited men with guns, FBI agents poured in, led by a familiar face, Maria Santos, now wearing a federal badge. "Keep broadcasting," she said, smiling. "We've got you covered." For the next hour, I laid it all out. Every name, every crime, every life destroyed by greed and corruption. The viewer count hit 1 million, then 2. My mother was arrested trying to flee the country. My father was found at the boathouse, injured but alive. The men who'd chased me were in custody. "This isn't just my family's story," I said finally, voice raw from talking. "It's the story of every family destroyed by greed, every life ruined by corruption, every truth buried by power. But not anymore." Willow touched my arm, showing me her phone. The story was everywhere. Arrests were being made across the city. The whole corrupt system was crumbling. "So what now?" she asked as I finally fell silent. I looked at Maria, who nodded encouragingly. "Now," I smiled, "now we start rebuilding. The right way this time." The red recording light blinked off for the last time. But the truth? The truth was just getting started. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as I made my way inside. My testimony today would be the final piece in a prosecution that had shaken the city to its core. "Ready?" Maria touched my arm as we approached the courtroom. "Born ready." I straightened my jacket. "How many are pleading guilty?" 17 so far, including your sister Stella." She checked her notes. Tamara's testimony helped crack the bigger cases. Jason's still fighting, but with the evidence we found in those safe documents. The heavy doors opened. The courtroom was packed, but my eyes went straight to the familiar faces. My mother, hollow-eyed in designer clothes that couldn't hide her defeat. My father, looking smaller somehow in his orange jumpsuit, but meeting my gaze steadily. The prosecution calls Carmen to the stand. Walking to the witness box, I passed Willow sitting with her new guardian, my Aunt Patricia, the only family member who'd stayed clean through everything. They both gave me encouraging smiles. "Please state your name for the record." "Carmen Ortiz." "Ms. Ortiz, please tell the court how you first discovered the systematic corruption within your family's business dealings." I leaned into the microphone. It started with a podcast. For the next hour, I laid out everything. The Martinez case, the foreclosure scheme, the decades of corruption that had destroyed countless lives. This time, though, it wasn't for listeners or viewers. It was for justice. "And your father's confession at the boathouse, was that coerced in any way?" "No." I looked at him directly. "He chose to tell the truth. Finally." My father nodded slightly, and for the first time since this all began, I felt something like forgiveness stir in my heart. The defense attorney stood for cross-examination. "Isn't it true that your podcast was motivated by revenge after your family criticized your failed business venture?" "My business didn't fail," I corrected him. "It was sabotaged by the same people who destroyed the Martinez family and countless others. The podcast wasn't about revenge. It was about truth." "The truth?" My mother's voice rang out suddenly. "The truth is you destroyed this family." "Order!" The judge banged his gavel. "No, Mother." I kept my voice steady. "The family destroyed itself. I just turned on the lights." After court adjourned, Maria caught up with me in the hallway. "The governor's office called. They want to create an anti-corruption task force. They want you to head it." I laughed. "Me? The podcast girl?" "The journalist who exposed the biggest corruption scandal in state history," she corrected. "The woman who proved that truth still matters." Willow appeared, tablet in hand. "The documentary makers are here, and 3 more publishers want to talk about the book." "Tell them all the same thing," I said. "Any proceeds go to the Victims Fund, starting with the Martinez family." Outside, the media circus waited. But among the reporters, I spotted familiar faces. Families who'd lost everything to my father's schemes. People who'd been silenced for decades. They weren't here for interviews. They were here for closure. My father was led past in handcuffs, pausing briefly beside me. "I'm proud of you," he said quietly, "for being stronger than I ever was." "I learned something from you after all," I replied. "How not to live." Stella was next, her lawyer's confidence replaced by genuine remorse. "The Martinez girl," she whispered. "I see her face every night." "Good," I said. "Remember it when you're rebuilding your life. Do better this time." My phone buzzed. A message from Tamara in witness protection. "They're letting me teach accounting to at-risk youth. Trying to use what I know for good this time." "Ms. Carmen," a young reporter pushed forward. "What's next for you?" I looked at Willow, who'd shown more integrity at 15 than my entire family had in generations. At Maria, who'd turned her family's tragedy into a force for justice. At the victims' families, finally seeing justice served. What's next? I smiled. We keep telling stories, the ones that need to be told, the ones that change things. And the podcast? Someone called out. Family Secrets is done, I said. But the truth? The truth is just getting started. Later that evening, I stood in front of my old family home, now being converted into a community center for financial literacy and legal aid. The fountain still sparkled in the sunset, but now it seemed to be washing away the past, making room for something new. Ready to go? Willow asked, carrying the last box of recording equipment. Almost. I touched the familiar marble, remembering the night this all began. The broken champagne glass, the cruel words. The moment I decided enough was enough. Sometimes the truth costs you everything you thought you wanted, only to give you everything you actually needed. Okay, I said, turning away from the fountain. Let's go make some good trouble. Behind us, the sun set on the old world of power and secrets. Ahead lay something better, a world built on truth, justice, and the courage to fight for both. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was a true one, and that made all the difference.